Hello, my loves. Hello, my loves. Hello, my loves, and welcome to Monique and Sidney's open relationship. How many was that? Hello, my loves. Hello, my loves. Hello, my
20.
loves. Hello.
It's 20 loves.
Daddy, that's because I mean it,
That's because you mean it, baby.
and I feel it.
You feel it
You know,
all up in your
in
spirit.
myself.
That's it.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to Monique and Sidney's open relationship. I am Monique.
And I'm Sidney.
And baby, when I tell you this show right here today, it got me to thinking, Daddy. Okay?
What got you thinking?
It got me to thinking. I'm gonna tell you what it got me to thinking. And the title of the show is Are You Afraid to Let Your Mate Know Who You Really Are? Oh, baby, listen, we got a call already, and we ain't even put the number out there. Let's go to the lines.
Do it.
Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hi, Monique. This is Steven. I'm calling from Staten Island.
Hey, Steven, how you doing, baby?
Monique, can I just say this? I love you and your husband. I love Black Love all day long. You're amazing. I love what you stand for. And trust me, just so you know this, I'm definitely in your corner, and I hear you 100%. Never let them change who you are.
Thank you, my baby. We appreciate that, brother.
Thank you for the love.
We love you, honey.
For free.
Yeah, you know what I saw the topic talking about, am I afraid to let my partner know who I am?
Yes.
And it's absolutely not.
You better say that.
That's
and,
right.
And what kind of relationship do y'all have?
Well, I'm in a same-sex partner relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and I think on any level, gay, straight, whatever, I think you get what you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm honest, if I'm being everything that I am and forthcoming, then I will receive that. If I put lies, trash, and pardon the expression, bullshit, then that's exactly what I'm going to get back.
Yes, baby. See, when I said what kind of relationship, I just meant in the happiness level, because normally when you are very comfortable and open and there are no hidden secrets, those relationships are normally very, very happy. I don't care what sex it is. Those are those kind of relationships that sustain through the years because there were no secrets hidden under the carpet.
You know what? I'm smiling, and I've been smiling for 10 years and going strong.
Yes.
That's right.
Um, it's something that you don't normally hear, especially in a gay relationship, because usually they tend to be something that lasts long in the LGBT community could be between like a year sometimes or 2 years. Having a long-lasting relationship and just having that factor in there, it's been amazing overall.
Mm.
I wouldn't have it any other way. We're very happy. He keeps me smiling. I keep him smiling. The first thing we do in the morning is laugh.
You know what though? I can feel the smile on your face as you talk about it.
That's right. That's right.
We love you, baby.
Thanks for calling.
All right, my love. How beautiful. How beautiful.
And just by telling the truth. Just by telling the truth.
Are you afraid to let your mate know who you really are? And that's the topic today. And this is what I thought about, Daddy, when you came up with the topic. And my first two husbands really had no idea who I was, nor did I know who they were. So it was mutual, and we got married for all the wrong reasons. But let's go to the lines, because this is a hot one right here. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey Monique, my name is Devon. I'm calling from North Carolina.
Hey, baby.
How are you?
Wonderful. We gonna sing to each other?
I can do a little something. I can do a little something.
No, I was just saying in reference to how we speak. We drag our words into a song.
Yes.
So,
You know that I love you so much. I'm a big supporter of you. I love you tonight. And I just love you and your husband relationship. I love y'all tonight.
we love you back, baby.
But answer your question, am I afraid to let my mates know who I am?
Yes.
No, I am not. Well, I'm engaged anyway to my fiance. As left me for who I am, then he could just go about his business. But come to find out, he liked me for who I was. I didn't change nothing about who I am. And he said, baby, I would love you for who you are to the day you take your last breath. I'm happy. He's a good man, and he's a good supporter. So, no, keep it real with me. I keep it real with you. You like me for who I am. You just keep it 100. This is for this day. And that's about it. I mean, you left me for who I am. So, no, I'm not afraid to let nobody know who I am because I love who I am. And that's who I am. And that's it.
That's what's up.
That is
We
absolutely
appreciate
beautiful,
that.
baby. Thank you, my love. You know, because when you read in the room, there are people saying, I'm going through that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through that right now. And for my own experiences, the only man for me that I've ever let in is the man sitting right next to me. None of them cats knew who I was.
And-
None of them.
And Mary Sunshine said that my mate, I think, knows everything about me except he thinks that I'm 40 and I'm really 54.
Mary Sunshine.
Which means that he doesn't quite know everything about you.
Yeah, he don't know 14 years about you.
Right.
Okay, there's 14 years missing out the equation. And
We would ask why.
yeah, why doesn't he know how your true age? But now Mimi, my grandmother, who was married to her husband, because I can't say my grandfather because he wasn't.
Right.
Was married to her husband. It was a third husband.
Big
right?
Daddy, right?
They called him Big Daddy.
Right.
Okay, so there's some more feelings about that. So I got to pause and take a minute. So when Big Daddy went on to the next journey, and Mimi came to visit with us, right? And she had gotten really sick one day, and we had to go to the hospital. Now, when we get to the hospital, I've got to get her ID, right? I find 3 different IDs, all the same birthday, but 3 different years, which gave her 3 different ages, okay? So I say to my grandmother, I'm in the hospital dramatic, I like it a little bit. So I'm like, Mammy, you have 3 IDs with different years. How old are you? My grandmother looked at me and said, baby, pick one.
Pick one.
But when I asked her why, when she was well, and I asked her why was it like that, she said because she wasn't that much older than Big Daddy's mother. And she didn't want that woman to know that she was a few years younger.
But what I would say is this. I don't know. As a man, I've typically been attracted to older women. So when I was 20, I dealt with women that were 40. And my mom asked me, she said, son, what are you doing messing with a woman almost my age? And then I had to ask her, what do you think that I'm doing with a woman almost your age? So if you are able to pass the part to look how you look, that is who you are in spirit, obviously. So feel comfortable in sharing who you are, the age that you are, because really and truthfully, age is nothing but a number. You see people that are in their 20s and 30s that damn sure look like they're in their 40s. Mm-hmm. And when they tell you that they are in their 30s, we saw a man that is the same, that's 50 years old, and we would have given him 65. And I said, wait a minute, you and I are the same age? That's right. And then I left it at that because what you gonna say?
I would have given him about 70.
I wasn't gonna give him 70, but I put him in the 60s.
We're gonna go to the lines because I'm gonna keep it at 70. Hey, you on with Monique and Sidney? Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Auntie and Uncle, this is Israel. How are you?
Hey,
Wonderful.
baby.
I'm doing good. Listen, I when I first met Peaches, the first thing I did when I met her was I decided to build a friendship. We were best friends for an entire year before we started going together. I refused to, keep secrets from her. I know plenty of couples who don't even see each other in the bathroom. I'm like, what, really? when you're with the person who you love, that's just my opinion. You know, I should be able to sit on this toilet and you sit on this tub and we discuss things while I'm opening my bowels because you love me and I love you.
Wait a minute. Have you been in our bathroom, Peaches? Come here, say Peaches. Israel, have you been in our bathroom? That's what you've been doing. You just spying on us.
No, that's just a black love thing. That's
right.
how we are. You know that, Uncle. Come on. You know,
But Israel, we've been doing that though before we was boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. We've been doing that since we've been kids with there was never like no embarrassment.
Other than, can your ass please flush?
No, Daddy.
Well, yeah, damn it.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Give a courtesy to a nigga. God damn. Okay, I'm in it for the long haul, but give a courtesy flush.
That's why your love is so strong. And that's why your bond is impregnable, because you've been through shit, literally.
Literally.
Oh, Israel. Now you ain't gonna say it. You're not gonna say that out loud. Was you in the goddamn hospital room that night? Now you're not gonna know all our personal business like that. But at that point, sister, when you have to say to your mate, I don't think they cleaned me good enough. And without flinching, this man, without flinching, went and cleaned me. So
After your mama said, I'll take care of you tomorrow.
okay, so was I supposed to sit and shit all night? But that's another story. So anyway, he cleans me, and you can't. What is there to be embarrassed about at that moment? Like, this man has literally smelled your shit. So what then are you fearful of? What then are you fearful of? Because you can say, I smelled your shit.
Exactly. Let me explain something to you, too. When I was seeing Peaches, when we were just dating, or really just best friends, I had to have several surgeries because I had an accident on my job and I used to be an electrician. I had several surgeries, and one of them was a back surgery. They had to take away one of my discs on my back and replace it with some foam. My then girlfriend, who was very abusive to me, she would always come to the hospital 10 minutes before visiting time was over. Meanwhile, Peaches had been there all day, literally all day. And she would come in and tell the nurse, no, just hand me the bucket, I got it. And she would open up my gown and wash me. This is when we weren't even dating yet. And she washed me, my entire body. Okay, brushed my teeth, the whole nine. Held the bucket while I spit. I'm like, what the? She was there for everything. Meanwhile, here come my so-called girlfriend 10 minutes before we leave. Hey, all right, I gotta go. They go into the hallway because they're leaving together, and she's dancing in front of Peaches. I got a day. There's a reason why I'm with Peaches.
Yes, indeed.
There's a reason why.
Yes, indeed.
There's a reason why. That's right.
Okay.
We love you, baby. And listen, on May the 12th, I can't wait to hug both of y'all real tight.
I can't wait. God, I can't wait.
All right, Mama, the show ain't the same unless we talk to you.
That's right. Take care now.
Love you, honey. Y'all, this is what I appreciate and love when you hear other love stories. And again, I don't care what the gender is. We get caught up in bullshit. When you just hear other love stories, how beautiful is that?
And here's the craziest part. It doesn't matter whether you're the same sex, opposite sex, two sex of the same, and one sex that is not the same, all in the same relationship, you're gonna still deal with the same human dynamic. There is no difference in the human dynamic. The sexual partners are not gonna change the mentalities of the people that are involved, because the same way that Israel just spoke in reference to her partner at that time not caring and having a friend who did care, that can happen in any relationship you can think of.
Come on, y'all. Hey, you on with Monique and Sidney? Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Johnny. I'm from Greenville, North Carolina.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting some errands done, but I was riding in the car.
Talk to us.
I had my uncle Devon. I guess he just finished talking to you. He told me to call.
Well, talk to us.
What was the question again? I'm sorry. He had told me what it was, but it slipped my mind.
That's all right. Are you afraid to let your mate know who you really are?
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. You said to let my mate know who I really am.
Yes.
Like as the person I'm dating.
Yes.
Okay, no, because at the end of the day, they're supposed to love, who you, I mean, period, they're supposed to love who you are. I mean, if they're gonna, be with you or marry you or whatever, they're supposed to love every flaw that you have.
Now, may I ask your age?
Yes, I'm 20. I'll be 21, May 16th, so in the next couple weeks.
I'm going to tell you why I asked that. Because there's a feeling that the younger generation
Right.
doesn't need that type of validation.
Freer.
Yeah, it seems like that the younger generation has a very free mindset.
I think the younger generation has an appreciation for their mindset because they watched the older generation try to stifle them. And it seems as if they're interested in getting out of the shackles of that. What has given you that freedom?
Well, I'm just gonna say, I've actually grown up, around a lot of, seasoned people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been in past relationships where it was never like that. It was, I don't like this about you, so hey, I'm done. And instead of with our generation, instead of us actually getting to know each other like the seasoned people did, we actually jump into it because okay, we want one or two things. We want sex or we want money or whatever. If you are actually, I'm gonna say, if you're actually stable on your own, you love yourself, self-love, and all of that, then you can go out date and you can be friends with this person or be cool with this person first before you actually jump into this relationship. So so now going back to the mate part is yes, your mate should be able to accept everything that you bring with you, whatever, because that's who you are.
From the miles of babes, thank you, my love.
We appreciate it.
There's a different freedom.
And I think one of the things that he just hit on was the fact that when you love yourself, why would you hide who you are from someone else? If you truly love yourself. And if you don't like certain things about who you are, that's when you have that conversation with them about, can you help me with these changes, or can you ride with me through the changes that I'm trying to make for myself?
This a hot one, Daddy. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from? Hello? All right, baby, they're gonna call back.
That's what's up.
Are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are? And I think that oftentimes we can be afraid to tell them, but thinking that I'm just not going to let my mate know everything about me, so they're not putting afraid in front of it. I'm just not going, you don't need to know everything about me. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hi, Natalie in Dallas.
Hey, baby, talk to us.
Well, according to the topic, I would definitely say no, that I'm not. And, my reasoning behind not being afraid is because I love who I am, first and foremost. And I'm not afraid to be by myself. If you don't love who I am, I'm okay with that. I mean, everybody isn't for everybody. There is someone for everybody. And I may not be that person for you, but I'm okay being by myself until I find that person that is for me and is going to love me for who I am.
Okay. I'm glad that you put that other part to it. when, you know, I heard you say the first time, I'm not afraid of being by myself, but I'm glad you said I'm not afraid of being by myself and can patiently wait for that person to come.
Oh, absolutely. Because like I said, there is someone for everybody. And, you know, I've been with my husband, we've been knowing each other for 9 years now. We've been married for 7. Yeah, I just turned 38 2 days ago now.
Happy belated.
So, thank you. And I would definitely say we just had our first child. Well, I just had my first child. This is his first child as well on the 13th of this month. And I would definitely say that there is something special in that because anything that I may not have liked in the moment, looking at my son and spitting image of his father, it grew my love for his father more. Just looking at my son and saying, you know what? You are the best of me and you are the best of him. And yes, no, I'm not afraid. Not afraid because it's just what you were just saying, Miss Monique, in a moment where you had Sidney taking care of you, I understand that now. If there was a different type of understanding and a different facet to our relationship now, because it couldn't have gotten any worse. In that moment of giving birth to his son, it could not have gotten any worse. And he was the backbone that I needed. He advocated for me when I may have wanted to give in. He said, no, I know the strength that you have. We're going to keep pushing.
Come on, baby.
We appreciate
Y'all
it.
stay in love. We love you, sis. Are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are?
And just to add something on it, do you give your mate the opportunity and the latitude to tell you who they really are? Because oftentimes in relationships, I hear this so much. I know he loves me. I know she loves me. I know he got my back. I know she got my back. But you don't hear about them saying, we have each other. It's one saying, I have me. I know they got me. Because you're trying to share with your friends that this person has gotten you, or that they have you, if you will. But we're not so quick to speak about the mutual respect, the mutual openness that is had. Because sometimes in certain relationships, you have individuals that are the givers, and you have individuals that are the takers. Are you allowing that person to also have a platform to feel comfortable with you too?
Oh. Hey, you on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
This is
And there it is.
All right, sugar. What'd they say, baby?
I don't know.
Okay, that sounds like it was all that bam.
We're going to keep it moving.
Are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are? And my parents were married, I want to say, was it over 50 years? 50 years?
Right. You would know that.
Okay, around 50 years.
Robin, you supposed to know.
But what I can honestly say is, I don't really believe my parents really knew each other. Though married for all that time, I don't think they really knew each other. I don't think that either one of them were ever at a place where they could say, let me tell you who I really am. Let's go to the line. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from? Hello, Shug.
This is Cassandra from Arizona.
Hey, Cassandra from Arizona. Talk to us, sister.
Hey. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, look, I was married for 27 years to one man, and he got me in the best of me. At 14, so he seen the nappy hair, he seen the braids, he seen the no makeup, he seen the eyelashes and the eyebrows, he seen that we used the restroom, everything. So he got me as my youngest, and we grew together.
That's right. That's right.
How beautiful. Thank you so much, Miss Cassandra.
And even though
Okay, we love you guys. When you coming to Arizona to do the show?
I don't know, Miss Cassandra, but when I do, I'm gonna make sure you come on out and see me.
I'll be in the front row. I have all the front rows. Tell out there following Houston. J1. J1.
Thank you, baby. I love you, Mama.
And you guys stay strong.
Yes,
I don't like
ma'am.
nobody y'all don't like.
We love you,
We
Mama.
love you. Take
Oh,
care.
baby, it don't get no better.
That's old school right there,
Daddy.
boy. That's old school right there. And I don't like nobody you don't like. That's right.
That's Sister Cassandra. Now, what listen, please know that for us, we give and take on this show because we get something as well.
Oh, no doubt.
And listening to Miss Cassandra is a wiser sister.
Mm-hmm.
And you're listening to that woman say, that man has the best of me. That man has the best of me. Like, that's motivational. That's motivating to hear this woman say, Monique, this man has the best of me.
And when you hear that level of excitement and exuberance, because like at your shows, what cracks me up is when you have younger folks and they're very tight. And they're very, but God said, but God said, but God said. And we're not knocking what you believe in reference to God. But then when you have people in their 60s and their 70s and their 80s, and they talking about, that's what you get from
That's what I
messing
thought.
with stuff. And they're talking about and rather enjoying life in a way that you see individuals who are younger and making it more difficult, more rigid for themselves. And you begin to say, we want to follow after them, because as you get older, you need to learn how to laugh more, because things get even more ridiculous. The more you start seeing life, the more ridiculous things start to become, and the more your sense of humor needs to come into play. And what better person to have those laughs with than your mate?
And are we willing to give our mates the best of us? Like, if I know it's just, I'll just speak from me in the past, right? In my other marriages, when I leave out the house, I'm gonna look my best. You know, I'm gonna put it together. But when I come back in, I was never considerate of what I looked like when I got back in. I didn't think about it. Calvin didn't say anything to address it. Mark never said anything to address it. The only one that's ever addressed it is this man sitting right here. And I remember one night, I had a show in Baltimore, right? And I go to the show, and I am glammed out, baby. Wig, gown, this, the whole nine. Come back. Take off the wig, take off the makeup, take off everything, put on some sweatpants and a wrinkled up t-shirt. Go out into the living room, and my husband said, wow, you went and gave them all of that, but you come home and give us that.
And let's just put that in context.
I wanted to be embarrassed, but I knew it was coming from nowhere but a place of love, so I ran back in that bathroom and put that wig on. Was it cock-sided? Baby, as hell. But what I did understand was, let me make sure I'm giving what I'm getting. Because just like what my husband looks like when he goes out is what he looks like when he's at home. So there are things that I had to learn to make it the best Monique I could be for my family. Do I still have some ways to go? Hell to the yeah. Hey, you on with Monique and Sidney? Who's this and where you calling from? All right, then. Daddy, what was you getting ready to say?
I was just gonna say, and it wasn't a one-off. It was kind of a little bit earlier in our relationship from a standpoint where you sit back, well, you know, because it wasn't just like you went there and that's what you gave me. It's one of those things where it was at one time habitual, because you gotta say to yourself, well,
Habitual means a lot, right?
yes,
All right, then.
because well, you have to say to yourself, if you have been doing it in your first marriage and you have been doing it in your
Okay.
second marriage, what would have made you change?
Well,
It
sure.
was habitual.
Okay.
So what happens is
Right.
you say to
Right.
yourself, hey, listen, if I try to give you my best,
Come on.
whether it's when I go out or whether we are here, would it be too much trouble to give me your best? And to her credit, she thought about it and was like, nigga cool. Cause she says stuff like that, nigga cool.
But that's why when people say, you gotta accept me as I am, or you can't accept me at all, we're gonna deal with it when we take this call. Hey, you on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Oh my God, this is Luther from Richmond, California. Hi, Mo.
Hey, Luther.
Hey, Mr. Sidney, how are you?
Wonderful, brother. How you doing?
Look, I'm going to keep this short. Girl, I thought you had me blocked. It's hard getting in contact with you.
Baby, this topic on fire, Lou.
Monique, you are a hot topic, baby, in every sense of the word, and I just love you. But listen, when you have the subject, when you have the conversation about being single, and for people who are by themselves, who think that they're alone, the thing of it is you're not by yourself if you're not in a relationship at this time. You're never alone. You may be by yourself, but you're never alone. And I was thinking about what you're saying, and it's wonderful that you have Sidney in your life. It's wonderful that you're there for each other. But my thing is this: I'm a gay man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 50 years old, and I've never been in a relationship with another man. I've been in almost relationships, and those almost relationships, they never took off. But my thing is this: I'm getting myself together, and I feel like this. How dare you ask for something and your house is raggedy? How dare you ask for something and your bank account is towed up? How dare you ask for something wonderful and you got bounce checks running everywhere? So when you have that conversation about being single and understanding the importance of being single, sister, I will have something to say. The only reason why I'm getting off the phone now is I'm listening to you, and I'm not in a relationship, so I really can't go there with you, but I am listening to the both of you, and God bless you.
We thank you.
We love you, Luther.
And we're gonna keep that in mind.
All right, my baby. Oh, that's why we do this show.
But even though he's single at the present time, it still applies that even more reason to have openness towards your mate, because we are all imperfect and we all slip at times. And it even gives you a latitude when you make a mistake to be comfortable in saying, you know what, I'm sorry, and you're right. Because oftentimes we want to fight when we hear someone saying to us that we know is real, that we know it's right, but then we want to have some issue with it because you talk about me? Like you talk about me? And in reality, what they're talking about is the both of you. Because if they're right with you, then, and you're right with you, then you're right with each other. It's kind of like someone being in a relationship and they saying, girl or man, she don't turn me on. He don't turn me on. Why not? Because she don't do this for me and he don't do that for me. Have you ever asked them to do that for you? Well, no. Well, were they just supposed to guess that that was what they were supposed to do? And nobody ever thinks about that, because I've heard, you hear about these relationships where they're very rigid, and fellas that are listening to, you gotta be brave enough to tell your boys, hey man, give Dorothy a break on that one. Cause homie, for real, how's she gonna know that? Like, when you're in a relationship and you got a friend that's in a relationship, tell them the real stuff in the relationship. Don't just go with them because that's your friend.
Right.
Tell them the truth because that's your friend.
Sisters, find you that real bitch or say, if you don't get your ass home and going with that, hey, you on Monique and Sidney. Who is this and where you calling from?
This is Joy Jameson calling from Milwaukee.
Hey, Joy, talk to us, baby.
Yeah, I would be afraid to let my mate know who I am because, how else would you know who that person is and who you're dealing with, without knowing who you are and who they are. So that's how you build together, by knowing who each other is. So I will not be afraid to let my mate know who I am and me letting him know who he is. So,
Come on, baby, you better say it. Now, are you in a relationship now?
no, I'm not. I'm actually coming out of a 6-year relationship, and I'm not in a relationship right now because that person, I found out who that person really were, and it wasn't what I wanted. So.
Right, he wasn't afraid to show you, but you was like, I ain't afraid to let you know that ain't what I want. Like, we got you.
Love you, baby.
Thank
It worked
you.
both ways.
It worked both ways.
It works both ways. Now, shit. Are you afraid to let your mate know who you really are? Hey, you home, Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you calling from?
This is Erica, and
Hey.
I'm calling from North Carolina.
Hey, Erica from North Carolina. Talk to us.
So, I've been in a relationship for a little over a year now, and I finally realized, like, this is not what I want, and I have a hard time, like knowing, like, how to let this person know, because they've, like, fallen in love with me, and I've been begging for a relationship with them, but they haven't been giving themselves to me either. Because I've been wanting, like, to communicate and talk to them and really get to know them and invest time with them, but they've been holding back. And now that, like, I just kind of see that it's just not working for me. I just want to get out. And I don't really know whether to, like, is this something that I need to stick and push through, or is this, I need to let them know that, hey, this isn't right for me.
What is it that makes it not right for you? And you said that you wanted to be in this relationship with this person.
They're more so invested. Like, what turns them on is video games and their friends and, just being high. They want to numb out all the time. And I like to go out and do things, and, like, I don't even ask them to, like, spend money on me or, like, go on dates. Like, we can just go to a park, or we can just, like, do something that's inexpensive, and they're not even open to, like, trying different things. And it's just hard to, like, really, like, love a person and get to know them when it's, like, it just feels like a battle, or every time, like, I'm like, okay, well, since you don't like leaving the house, like, let's have a meaningful conversation. Like, let's talk about something meaningful that matters to you. And then it's like, if I ask them, like, hey, what do you think about this? They think that I'm attacking them.
How old are you both?
We're both 28.
Got you. Well, at the end of the day, because the old message that people give you is just push through it, just push through it. But part of it is, have you shared with him your feelings in their entirety?
Yes.
Well, now it's at a place where you're being unfair to yourself. If you shared with him your feelings in their entirety, you've told them where you are with the relationship, then at that point, then you have a decision to make. And the decision is, because he's made a decision, I understand what it is that she's telling me, but I'm electing not to change my ways. So when a person elects not to change their ways, after you share with them what they need to do as it relates to making you comfortable in the relationship, then what he's done was saying, I'm gonna need you to change your ways. And by changing your ways, that means that you have a decision to make. Either you're gonna deal with it, or you elect not to deal with it.
And life too short, baby.
Yes, ma'am.
So enjoy it, mama. We love you, sis.
Love you too. And I still want you to sing some more, Monique.
Baby, you don't even realize she said she want me to sing.
I know, but that's because she can go on where she's gonna go after she hear you singing. you don't understand that
No.
you gonna promote her to be
Erica,
singing
no.
all the time.
No.
Our children,
No.
who are
Erica,
musicians,
This is what I don't
they
want y'all.
be
No.
begging
This
her,
is-
mama
no.
don't, mama don't.
No.
These are called
No.
haters.
No.
You see? Now you have made
No,
a special
Erica.
request.
No.
She's made Erica, what song would you like to hear, Sugar?
None.
Please.
The reach out and touch song, you know.
Oh, Erica,
Come
you
on.
are wrong.
Baby, we love you. Stay tuned, because here it comes. Reach out and touch
I could put you to death.
somebody's hands. Make this world a better place. If you can. Did you see I jazzed?
Now you brought the cabaret sing out. Now you did this.
Did y'all
You
see
did
me
this.
jazz it?
Listen.
Man.
When you hear Robin in the background, please, because you ain't heard of the whole show. You don't hear Robin. Robin be right there all the time. You know the song is wrong. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
No.
Remember, tell your mate not what they want to hear, but what they need to know.
hear. That's right.
What they need to know.
And we've kept that promise to one another since we've been kids, since we've been, young about us. And we said that to one another. And are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are? Sidney knows just who I am. And what he knows is I'm a strong talker. Yeah, I'm a strong talker, but sometimes I have a hard time being strong talk to you back. Now, I just wanted to put it out there because that's something that I have to work on. And the reason why I say that is because you'll hear people say, accept me for who I am, and that's it. Well, y'all, sometimes all of us isn't the best of us. And when somebody say, love me for all of me, well, there may be some shit about us that it's like, listen, I don't want to love that part. That's a shitty part. I don't want to deal with that part. That's a nasty part. I don't want to deal with that part. That part does not like to compromise. So when I hear people say that, because I've been guilty of saying it's just who I am, but is that the best of who you are?
And to our sister that just called in reference to the boyfriend that likes to play video games too much, who says he's in love with you, ask him the question, how can you be in love with me if you won't spend valuable time with me? Because you seem to spend more time with your video games than you do with me. So that's a real question to ask. But in relation to being unable to take what it is that you dish out, we have to learn how to do that. And if you just pay attention to human beings in general, oftentimes the people who talk and speak the toughest are oftentimes the most sensitive. And I think that is because there is this air of defense where they want to keep you at bay. But the moment you say something to them, and it doesn't need to be as harsh by any means as what they've said to you, it's just direct, it's just honest. And they seem to be hurt by that. But what they come to find out, if they're strong enough, is that it wasn't said to hurt, it was said to strengthen the magnitude of your relationship that you have. So that when you hear it, accept it. And if you have a question about it, that's okay. Ask, what do you mean? Give some examples. And if it's true, work on it, because which one of us are perfect? None of us.
Are you afraid to tell your mate how you really feel? And some of us, because all of us have a yesterday. All of us have a past. Before we got involved with the mates we're with right now. And what I never got caught up into was, you used to go with her? Because that didn't have nothing to do with me. That didn't have nothing to do with me. So we get to a place where we make shit that's so unimportant important. And then we're afraid to say, you know what, this is what I'm really feeling. But I disguised it with this. I used to be guilty of that. And then Sid would have to go, okay, but what's really going on? Then I would go through about 20 minutes of nothings. Okay, then he'd be like, yo, this me. So when we have these conversations, just so that y'all understand and you clear about it, a lot of times it's because I want to share it and understand it and say it out loud so that it makes me the best Monique that I can be. Not, this is just who I am, and if you want to deal with it, deal with it. And if not, because that's a lot of lonely sisters with that attitude and a lot of lonely men with that attitude. This is just who I am.
And I've gotten an opportunity as a man to watch a man who was my father be the type of man that he did not listen, nor did he seem to take in consideration from my mother to the women that I saw him with. So I didn't see my mom and dad weren't together for 50 years, over 50 years like your mother and father, I guess, pretending. They chose
Okay.
not to pretend, and they said, we're going to be done with each other quickly. So I think by the time I was 6, it was pretty much a rizap, okay? So in watching my father, all of what I got an opportunity not to see was all the knowledge that I needed to know in terms of what to do, from being real with people, because he was the type of guy who wanted to create an image of himself that wasn't exactly what it was. When you say to people, I went to Juilliard, that's a very prestigious institute, but you didn't graduate from high school. But you worked at General Motors for 36 years. Never graduated from high school. I think the truth is better than a made up reality. And again, made up reality, which is a contradiction in terms. But his reality was oftentimes made up. When my friend from down the street, Troy, who used to play the saxophone, said, oh man, I didn't know your dad went to Juilliard. Neither did I. That was my response. Neither did I, for he did not. And that was the thing that made me say, I can't play fantasy. And sometimes when you are married to a woman who happens to be a part of Hollywood, the seasoning salt of Hollywood becomes a bit too salty and it raises your blood pressure. And you have to say, we can't play those games because we come from Baltimore, Maryland. A place where you see folks when they get mad, they're kicking the car door window. They'll burn down the Walgreens. We ain't come from Beverly Hills. We came from straight from the hip. So we can't move out here and get caught up in being all of other individuals. And we take that back into our relationship to say, listen, I love you too much to be false with you. We got to be real with each other. And hence here we are, because not only are we about black love, because love has no color, but we're about love. So when you hear individuals saying that I'm in a same-sex relationship, you don't have to identify that for us, because the bottom line, you're in a relationship and love is love. That's for those perfect people outside. See, if this was a church, it would be the house of the sinners, the house of the wrongdoers, the house of the people that could easily be condemned, because we are not perfect, nor will we try to pretend as if we are. So you don't have to be perfect to be in here with us, but the thing we strive for is a level of perfection within ourselves.
Are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are? And I'm gonna tell y'all, the one thing about my husband, best friend, brother, lover, father, all the titles, he's always been blatantly honest. Like there's never been a time where he bullshitted it, sugarcoated it, made pretend just to make me feel better. And I remember out in Hollywood, I had got an invitation to a Janet Jackson party, right? And I was excited. Janet Jackson is in control, right?
Now I'm all grown up.
So I was like, Sid, come on, let's go to Janet Jackson party. He looked at me and said, bitch, you don't know her. Okay. But what he said was, that woman needs to be surrounded by people that really know her and love her. And what we don't want to do is take up space for the folks that could really be around her, that know her and love her. And I'm appreciative of that, because he also said to me one time, which it hit and it stung, but it was right. And he said, stop having these fake ass friendships. Stop it. You don't know these people, and these people don't know you. And it was a feeling of real shit being in the know. It was a feeling of you in with the in crowd. It was, I've made it. I'm here. But real shit, I don't deal with any of those people.
And again, you know, we've talked about this, but when Oprah would call and call myself or call our phone, and there was a level of being enamored because it was Oprah.
Yes.
And I'm like, but her phone number disappears from the phone when she hangs up. And I'm not exaggerating. Her phone number would
Yes.
disappear. Like you could be looking at it and the shit would just dissolve in front of your eyes like, boing.
Like she never made the call.
Like it was never made.
Like she never made the call.
And you have to say to yourself, these individuals, they will call on you when they need something.
Mm.
Because it's about business. And we have to accept that it's about business. So that the conversations that we're having with you are coming from a place of there are too many real people that exist out here that can't buy into the fake stuff of the world of Hollywood, of the world of business, that you're going to kiss somebody's ass just because you think you're going to get a promotion. Does that mean you not do your job to the best of your ability? That's self-fulfillment right there, to do it to the best of your ability. But why do you have to go out of your way and be something that you are not in order to fit in with people who are nothing like you, who can't relate to you? I don't want any motherfucking, pardon me,
Oh, I
foie gras.
like it.
I don't want foie gras. What the hell? Foie gras? How about this? Now we've been eating raw, okay, or as we call it, live food. But every once in a while, a brother gonna have him some chicken. I'm going to. Now she don't right now. That ain't what she do. But I'm gonna have some yard bird every once in a while. I'm gonna have a little steak every once in a while. I'm trying to eat as clean as possible and good. But we regular folk. We regular folk. It's nothing wrong with going to see the symphonic orchestra. But we more barbecue type
That's
people,
all.
okay? we more of a juke joint type of folks, as opposed to individuals who say, again, when they say the sedity and you want to put your pinky up, and we can't do that. And if that's what you like, we can't knock it. We just saying, hey, let's just be ourselves, and at the same time, let people be who they are. But if you come deal with us, expect to deal with just real.
Come on. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sidney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
This is Eric Moore from San Diego. How you doing, Monique? How you doing, Sidney?
Wonderful, brother. Talk to us.
All right. I met you guys about 10 years ago. And I was managing D'Angelo's trainer, and we had a great meeting. And I want to talk to you about this relationship thing, and I'll hit you on the email about some business later. But what I've done, what I've noticed about people in their relationships is you can be in a relationship with a stranger because, even for 10 years or 20 years, because that person can be so afraid of being who they really are that you're in a relationship with who they presented themselves to be.
Mm-hmm.
So as you grow, you're growing with the stranger they presented themselves to be, while you may be becoming more authentically true to who you are. So people think, wow, they've grown apart. The key is they were never growing together in the first place.
Come on.
Because sometimes both people are not being who they are. And what ends up happening is, then the affairs come. And the affair a lot of times doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the person is more attractive or all these other things. So I have this saying that a person can cheat down. So you'll see in Hollywood, where I work, as an advocate, deal with a lot of the issues you guys are dealing with personally, in music, in sports and entertainment, and unequal pay. I deal with it. So what you see is, you see the hype of in together is that it's clear that you are authentically loving each other at the core. You support each other at the core. And it's so odd in Hollywood where we see people in relationships because of what it does for their career, what it does for their sponsorship, their endorsement. It's J-Lo's with A-Rod, Beyonce with Jay-Z. It's all of these other things going on, but you guys from Baltimore, and I'm from North Carolina, have a truly authentic ride or die, we are for each other relationship, and it offends people because so many people are not in that type of relationship to envy it, and their envy is projected onto your relationship. And I just want to, support you, let you guys know you have lots of support from executives, entrepreneurs, new business development people like myself, behind the scenes who have been fighting the same fight you're fighting, but behind the scenes. So I almost lost my relationship at a dinner party a month ago, long-term relationship, group of women who did not understand your fight, a group of black women who did not know the facts of what's going on. And I gave all of them the facts that particular day. I will let you know that.
That's right, that's right.
And let me say this one more thing, and I'm gonna let you guys go. I work on the legal side too. So I had to explain to people that the challenge when I'm working with, say, I want to give a name. I'm going to give the name. I did some work with Michael Jordan, because I'm from North Carolina. And when I told people 20 years ago that Michael Jordan was underpaid, they said, oh my God, Eric, what are you talking about? You mean he's underpaid? Look how rich he is. I said, stop. Did you know that it is a fact that he does not own not even 1% of the Jordan brand? No, I didn't know that. But he's making all this money. How do you know what he's making? So what's being reported. So did you know that he can't take the Jordan brand public? Did you know that he could not separate from the Jordan brand? Did you know that he was not the highest NBA player until the last 3 years? He was in the middle range, somewhere between 75 and 80th on the pay scale. No, I didn't know that. So do you think he was underpaid if I tell you that? It's of course, he was the best player. So I said all that to say this. Netflix, the argument that I think that people miss, and I want to say this really quick. People miss this. When Sidney brings, we're not going to answer my question. And the challenge is, when you give a criteria for payment, if you say we're going to pay you a max salary of this, if you have these statistics, or these accolades, or these, once you give me the criteria, when I show you people who don't fall in that criteria, and I ask you to explain to me how my pay can be 25, 26 times less than a person with less
Credentials.
less credentials, not as good analytics. It's not unfair if you say to me, you know what? We roll the dice, and Chappelle might get 100 million, Johnny Rollins might get 10, Monique might get 6, so-and-so might get 7. But what who we are, having worked in the business 25 years, and negotiated deals like that, Sidney, and been there with Bernie and Steve and the Kings of Comedy and helped finance that, and put the people
Come on.
And when you can't answer that question, you have to start, and if the negative come out, oh, well, I really don't like her comedy, she's not so relevant, hold on. Amy Schumer's numbers don't match up. Let's start there. So when you ask that legitimate question to them, and they can't answer it, they know they're not dealing with a Hollywood dummy. So they got to come out with, he's difficult. Get rid of her manager. I was in my dinner meeting. They said, we think her manager is the problem. I said, her manager is why she's not broke. I worked the bankruptcy. I worked TLC's bankruptcy. They said Pebble stole the money. She didn't take a dime. She got paid in the settlement. They said she was difficult because she was fighting for the artist. I worked the Death Row Records bankruptcy. I worked Teddy Riley's bankruptcy. Carlos Brody's bankruptcy. I can go on. I've seen how they get used and underpaid. And when I see the numbers, I can't believe TLC was making $3,000 a concert a piece when they were selling out Madison Square Garden. 3,000. I have the documents. Nobody can tell me that those aren't the numbers because I have the documents. I know what the settlement said. So most African American women are underpaid. They just don't know they're underpaid because everybody's going along. That's what happens. And I just appreciate you guys. And I'll see you out there. We'll talk. We'll hook up. And just keep fighting and fighting. And I'm here to be one of those spots.
We appreciate you, brother.
We love you, baby.
Thank
Now, if I may,
Kick it.
I want to tell y'all why. Because some people will say, that's too much time. It's too much time.
Mm-mm.
No. And with Monique and Sidney's open relationship, you can take the time you need. Because what that brother did was, he just broke some shit down.
And you can tell he knows what he's talking about.
Come on.
See, it's not just somebody saying something that's favorable, because we've gotten a lot of favorable things, but it's an individual that's obviously able to think for themselves. And the same way we had Kim Hirschman on our show, who was in business affairs, an attorney, behind the scenes and saying this is a legalized plantation. This is the world in which we live in.
And I'm appreciative of that cat. Because what he didn't do was run to the playground. He said, no, I'm going to say the names. I'm going to say the names because that's the only way we get better. See, even if we go back to this topic, are you afraid to tell your mate who you really are?
Mm-hmm.
When you got people, I'm going to just go along to get along. Do you know how many marriages are doing that right now? I'm going to go along and get along. No, I don't really love his ass. He really don't love me. But because he got $1 million and because my ass is fat, I'm going to go along to get along. That's a whole lot of that going on. And please, don't let me just make it about the women because there's some sisters out there, because he had a strong looking back and he was real fine, I'm going to go along to get along. And he ain't got to have no job. We know them sisters too. So it ain't just like it's one-sided.
And to be in a situation where I'm proud to say that my wife, who's been my best friend since I was 14, believes in me enough to say, hey, I know what you standing for is the right thing. And to be in a situation where I'm proud to say that I know what she's standing for is the right thing. What we're not just doing is standing beside one another. We're following what's right. And all we are is the followers of what is right. So when you hear the numbers from an objective source, sharing with you how we in our culture have been raped, and you don't take the time to ask yourself, when was the moment in history that when we became free, that we were paid fairly? When were we paid fairly? So it's one of those things to have the trust and belief that when you have a Whoopi Goldberg pull you up in the dressing room and say, do you know the problem is your husband, but you don't have a husband to be a problem, to give you any advice? When is there belief? When you hear someone call in, early out, one of our brothers called in and said, the first thing that my partner and I do when we wake up in the morning is we smile and we laugh together. But we hear Oprah Winfrey on Van Jones' show, who he referred to as Mother Earth, bless that brother, because we love him, refer to her as Mother Earth, and then he says, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? She says, I say thank you,
Mm-hmm.
I meditate,
Mhm.
and I walk the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Where's anything about what she does with Stedman? Where's the appreciation for Stedman? So you gotta understand, we live in an environment where relationships, especially in Hollywood, they're not beneficial, they're not conducive for them to appreciate you having them, because if you have them, you are looked at as being difficult because they don't want you to stand strong together. They know that there's another person whispering in their ear saying that is not right, because they come in the gang. This is not a place where they're looking to play fairly. They're coming to gang. Because when you have a sitcom come on for 5 years and it lasts for 5 years, then they start doing DVDs about that sitcom that you were doing. You're never supposed to work again. And I'll share this story. I sat on the plane next to a sister. Her name, she had a show called Grace Under Fire. What was that?
Brett Butler.
Brett Butler. And I sat on a plane next to her. And she shared with me, very candidly, it was like we had known each other. And she had just shared with me how it was her fault that due to her problems and issues that she had with drugs, that she could knock out, I believe it was 10 more episodes. That after she would have gotten those 10 more episodes, it would have yielded her a $20 million paycheck. After she had been on all that time, she couldn't even do it because of the problem. Now, that was not even in the conversation as it pertained to Monique, because to have a #1 sitcom and you are black is not the same as having a #1 sitcom when you are white.
Come on.
Because if it was, though it's not a sitcom, Empire, that cast, or at least Taraji
Mm-hmm. And Terrence.
and Terrence would be the highest paid individuals on TV. But it's looked at as different. And what oftentimes happens is when you have a couple and you're in a relationship, oftentimes one or two things can happen. The person who is on the sidelines who's saying they're not treating you fairly is being met by, you're not gonna fuck this up for me. You're not gonna mess this up for me. Because this is just how it's done. They told me if I just wait to the next one, it'll happen then. And then that person says, but you done waited on the next one, and the next one, and the next one. When is it gonna be the next one? And it's the next one when it's your last one.
Come on.
And you never got the payday you could have during the time because the system is set up for you to fail. And or you're in a situation where the spouse and both of them are in a position where they say, guess what? We just gonna take whatever they give us. And that's what makes us difficult, because as Louis Gossett said in his book, and when he came on the Monique show, what one nigga won't take, another nigga will. So we gotta stop being the niggas that just take whatever is given to us and just being happy with it.
Well, Daddy, we can talk about it.
We talked about it.
We gave more time today.
We gave
It's
him a little
feeling
bit more
good.
time.
Are you afraid to tell your mate how you really feel and the bullshit that go on in the entertainment, what is music, sports? That cat broke it down.
Brother Eric broke it down.
So we want to thank y'all for giving us your time, because you could be doing anything else, but y'all said we're going to take out the time and spend with our brother and sister, Sidney and Monique. So thank y'all for tuning in, baby. Tell a friend, tell another friend. Make sure you tell them to go to Monique Worldwide, the YouTube channel. And like my daddy always says, the mind is like a parachute.
It is no good unless it's open.
We love y'all.
For free.
Mwah. Doo-ba-doo.